You can already see it. But Whitewater Wipeout is a surfing game for the play date that pays homage to the classic California games. Plus, it's made by our boss and legend, Giles Goddard.
I'm current CEO, Giles Goddard.
We haven't announced it yet, dang it!
Phoenix!
PT Creates and Sunsoft present the final piece of a trilogy. A metal attacker embarks on a brand new adventure. The side view and top-down action is more intense than ever before. Jason's third battle against mutant kind is about to begin. What new threats await him in a new dimension? The pinnacle of mutant blasting action is here! Blaster Master 03! A new chapter in Blaster Master history unfolds. July 29th, 2021. PT Creates. Azure Striker Gunvolt 3.
That was super cool. Bit Summit is awesome. Can't wait to go back to Kyoto to experience it when we can.
Amazing. Yeah, that was the best. I think if you get a chance to go to Bit Summit, do it. Take it. It's amazing.
Yeah, shout out to them for showing their games on this showcase for sure. Thanks once again to our sponsors and broadcasting partners for their support. We're going to shout them out here once again. PlayStation, Xbox, Kickstarter, Razer, Astro Gaming, our fellow devs and publishers, Two Awesome Studio, Akupara Games, All In Games, Good Shepherd, Humble Games, Goblin Studios, Graffiti Games, Head Up, Hype Train Digital, Neon Doctrine, Raw Fury, Tiny Build, Thunderful, and Whitethorn Games.
Yes, and be sure to check out the Guerrilla Collective event page on Steam, where you can learn more about the games, wishlist those games, buy the games that are available now. Check it out. Wishlists help, so do it.
Do it. Definitely support them. Thanks to Wilmer Sound.
Thank
Sir,
you.
have been awesome for opening up your space.
Yes, I'm so happy to open my space to you.
Always. I love being in your space. Thanks to the Mix Team, AV Society, Timmy, Abe, Fully Illustrated, everybody who's contributed on this stream. That wraps up day one of Guerrilla Collective 2. Coming up next is our next installment of Black Voice in Gaming, where Alfonso Hooker will be joining me for some interviews and exclusive gameplay sessions with some amazing devs and their dope games. Be sure to stay tuned at the same time next Saturday at 8 a.m. PST, 5 p.m. CET, where the Guerrilla Collective gaming greatness will continue, along with the spotlight on uplifting and thoughtful indie games in Wholesome Direct. We're going to take a quick break and come back with some more Guerrilla Collective with Black Voices in Gaming next. See you soon. Oh Lord, we are back early. Black Voices in Gaming hasn't started yet. I am here with my friend Alfonso Hooker. Alfonso Hooker. Anyway, yeah, Black Voices in Gaming is coming up next, but we're going to shoot you with a blast from the past from last year's Guerrilla Collective with Wilbert Roget's amazing interview. And then stay tuned after that for the Black Voices in Gaming from Guerrilla Collect 2. We'll see you in a bit. Will is an amazing composer. He worked on Mortal Kombat.
I like how I have
11.
a shitty Dixie, like a shitty cup.
I believe the sound design and the music for that. Talked a bit about him. Talked with him a little bit about that before, and he also is composing and doing the audio design for a game, Anew, which is it's an independent game. It's really awesome. Worked on Crystal Dynamics, on Tomb Raider, I believe, and some other projects. So it'll be awesome to talk with him and also showcase Anew. Okay, so let's roll to the trailer.
Try to cue one up right now. Just
check it out.
Test it. I'm gonna clean this off because it's like fingerprint prone.
That's it.
What?
The screen?
Just the background.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, you can't use Clorox on screens, homie. Man, come on, that's sacrilege.
Who did that song?
What happened?
Did you see the message?
Wait, what happened? So that was the dope trailer from Anu. The game is sick. I first witnessed the game, checked out the game on Kickstarter, and then when I was working at Fig for publishing, I was like, oh, we gotta get that game, we'll get that game. And then it had a successful Kickstarter, and then the next time I saw it was at the Mix, actually, where it was being showcased in LA for E3. And I met Will for the first time, and the rest of the team. So we got Will on the line. What is happening, Will?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Okay, cool. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, cool. I can hear you.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect.
Awesome. It's nice to see you again. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. I mean, unfortunately, obviously, E3 and GDC couldn't happen this year. But again, thank you so much for having us on this program.
Yeah, for sure. And guess where we're at? Where you're on the podcast. So we're in Wilmer Sound Studios. We set everything up here, the whole situation. So we have a proper studio, sound studio and everything. And I met Will and actually had an engaging conversation for the first time here during our podcast. So it's great to have you back and talk to you. It's really fascinating your experience in the game space. I did not know, the wealth of experience you had. So can you tell a little bit about your background before we hop into the game?
Sure, yeah. I specialize in game music. Just sorry to make a brief correction, but I don't do sound design for games. I just focus on the music.
Oh, sorry about that.
So, no worries. So, I started quite a long time ago, and eventually I made my way to LucasArts as a music editor. And then from there, I started to write original scores for Star Wars games like The Old Republic, the MMO, as well as Star Wars First Assault and Monkey Island 2 Special Edition. And then after LucasArts ended, I started my independent career as a music composer. And that's when I did Lara Croft's Temple of Osiris, Dead Island 2, and eventually Call of Duty World War II, Mortal Kombat 11, Star Wars Vader Immortal, and now anew The Distant Light. And that's kind of
that's super dope.
My background, pretty much, yeah.
It's really cool to see that you're doing that and to make that connection like we were talking about before. Is like when I am able to see another black developer or someone in games, it's like an immediate connection, just because there's so few of us. It's awesome. Also, I was geeking out about Mortal Kombat at the time when we talked, because I'm so obsessed. And to know that you were a part of that process was really great. And then to make the connection that you're also doing things independently, that's amazing as well. So yeah, we have Anu here. We're gonna play the game. This dude's gonna drive. Let's hop into it. So can you tell us how you got locked into Anu? How did you jump into this game and into the team?
Yeah, it's interesting. This was a long time ago. It must have been the end of 2014, maybe early 2015, that I started on this project. And I believe Jeff Spoonhauer was our... before I start, this game is made by only 2 people. So it's really weird to say who does what, because literally it's 2 people making the whole game, Steve Copeland and Jeff Spoonhauer. But Jeff, who's more of the artist, he played Lara Croft's Temple of Osiris, and I guess he liked the music, and so he reached out to me, and he showed me just a brief visual demo of it's kind of a look development thing where they were showing some of the day-night cycles in the first level, and I just thought it was so gorgeous, and I'd worked on high profile, franchise titles for quite some time, but I really wanted some sort of an indie project that was more focused on making kind of a very artistic statement, if that makes sense. Not needing to be big, but instead very focused and personal, I guess is the way I want to put it, and unique. And this was exactly it. I mean, I feel so lucky that it almost kind of fell into my lap just like that. The art style is something I've never seen before. And just the way that they work and the direction that they gave me was so radically different from anything I'd ever seen. Normally you start a game and maybe you'll get some reference tracks, and they're usually from like film scores or sometimes even other game scores, and it's like, this is what we want. Well, in this case, all the reference I got was 20th century art music. It was modern art music rather than any kind of scoring. They were showing me Bartok and John Adams and Debussy and Datavara and all these interesting 20th century composers. And so what I did was I wrote in a style that harkens back to that, while also incorporating a lot of like 1960s mode style synthesizer and things like that, to just get a unusual sound that's quite alien and quite foreign, but also makes sense internally. Like you can see, especially once you, I believe this demo eventually gets to some of the alien constructs, you can see that this is a civilization that you've landed in. And it's real, it's developed, but it's just so radically different from anything on Earth. And I wanted to evoke that with the music.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was playing the last couple of days, and like what you're saying about the art style and the presentation, it is something that I haven't seen before. It feels like a mixed medium art piece, right? You have these like textured layers that look like paper, right? The foreground and the background, but then you have these 3D elements, and everything is tied together so well that when you you get to the alien world, it does feel like a foreign place in a surreal type of way, which I definitely respect. So that's interesting how you came about that. Can you tell us a little bit about like how you get started as far as like, so you talked about like the reference that you use and what they've kind of talked about the textures that they want in the music, but how do you get started as far as like with composition?
Yeah, so by the way, if you want to get out of this ship, I think you go up and to the left, and then you're trying to get down. So there's like a chute that you go down to get to the next level.
Thanks.
I'm here to
it's
struggle, but
Metroidvania style gameplay, so it's big on exploration. It's not super easy to. Yeah. I think you go down this elevator.
Down right there. Yeah.
But as far as my process, I'm quite old-fashioned. In fact, you can almost see here. You know, I always start with scoring on paper, because for me that just lets me be freely creative. I don't have to worry about the technicalities of working on a PC right away. And once I have pieces fleshed out like that, just being freely creative and not having to worry about the reality of how is this all going to come together in the production. Then I go to the PC and develop things there. And once that's all finished and I have approval from the developers, that's when I seek out the live musicians to perform their score.
Oh, okay. So you're working with live musicians.
Quite frequently, yeah. I'm very lucky to be able to do that.
That is awesome. Is that how you approach most of your compositions? Is live? I see a guitar in the background too. So you must be picking up.
Yeah.
Because I think you told us about this before. You play mad instruments. Like you play a ton of different instruments, right?
Yeah, well, I apologize for what's about to happen here, but like I have a whole rack of
wow.
Man, you can't even see, but like
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm mostly a flautist. In fact, that's me playing right now. But I try to work with other musicians as much as possible, and in fact, I try to specifically write parts for the players, in particular, that I plan to hire later on, just kind of playing to their strengths and what I know that they enjoy, what I hope that they'll enjoy performing. Because that's, again, kind of a more old school, traditional way of thinking about music. I'm not super keen on the modern MIDI-based stuff.
Yeah.
I'd much rather work with people. So that's just a lot more satisfying to me personally.
Totally. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Well, I mean, it's very inspiring what you do and how you work and stuff. Do you have any advice for young composers getting into the game and you know, who are interested in making this happen but may have been struggling, you know, to figure out how to make things happen?
Yeah, you know, this might sound a little bit cheesy, but the answer is real friendships. And that's honestly what carries you in so many different ways. Like, first off, on the subject of musicians and the creation of these scores, if you make friends with other musicians, maybe they're fellow composers, maybe they're performers who are trying to start that career, you can have them perform on your demos and on your scores and whatnot. And now suddenly your music sounds way better than your competition who's just using these MIDI, you know, fake versions of the same thing. You have the real musicians performing. So there's that angle, but then there's also, and this is kind of, the way I say it is you have to kind of play the long game.
Yeah.
In terms of like career development and whatnot. You know, a friend that you make in 2014 might end up being someone who leads you to get a project 5-10 years later even. I mean, like my first gig at LucasArts, I got that because I was before that working on a bunch of indie games, and I worked with a sound designer who eventually got hired at LucasArts. And then when they were hiring for a music editor, they were like, why not hire that Will Roger guy? And these things kind of just snowballed over time, and one gig kind of led to another, not because of that gig in particular, but because of the people that I encountered working on those projects.
That is totally true. I've found that exactly the same. Like, when you're starting out, you're grinding, you're just trying to make things happen, and you're meeting on that particular point